The idea was to find some common ground on Syria. But US Secretary of State Rex Tillerson was quick to point out that Washington and Moscow first had their own differences to sort out.
We frankly discussed the current state of U.S.-Russia relations. I expressed the view that the current state of U.S.-Russia relations is at a low point. There is a low level of trust between our two countries. The world's two foremost nuclear powers cannot have this kind of relationship.
But his Russian counterpart downplayed the rift.
The US and Russia have been at the forefront over the recent years of international efforts at finding solutions, at rallying all the parties concerned, both parties to the Syrian conflict and external players, bringing them together at the negotiating table under the aegis of the UN. Today, we agreed to continue to work bilaterally in order to facilitate this process, to push the multilateral process forward.
Relations between the two countries have deteriorated since the US launched a missile strike on a Syrian airbase. The regime is suspected of using that base last week to launch a chemical attack in Idlib. The US says the regime used sarin gas during the attack. It wants Russia to stop supporting the regime and enforce an international ban on using chemical weapons. Moscow insists that the civilians were killed by toxic agents released from a rebel chemical arsenal struck by Syrian warplanes. But on Wednesday, Tillerson and Lavrov agreed on the need for a UN investigation into the incident. Tillerson also met with President Vladimir Putin, who had earlier criticized the US.
Everyone is nodding like bobbleheads without analysing anything that's happening. Where is the proof that the Syrian army used chemical weapons? There is none. But there are violations of international law. This is an obvious fact. The airstrike was on a sovereign country, made without being sanctioned by the Security Council of the UN.
Lavrov also warned Tillerson against using an international effort to remove Bashar al-Assad from power. And even before the US Secretary of State had the chance to board his plane home, Moscow announced it was expecting a visit from a Syrian Foreign Ministry official within the next few days. Shamim Chowdhury, TRT World.